Well, the interest in AI chip players has been huge in recent months, to say the least. That has been one of the fuels behind AMD's advance. Today, the stock is under some pressure, in part as China concerns overshadow the company's own AI forecast. Let's get some more perspective on the business now. Goldberg is a senior analyst at Seaport Group and joins us to talk a little bit more about the reaction. How would you describe why the stock is down, what the market's disappointed by?
I think this is just a case of people selling on a pretty good year. AMD's had a really good run over the last few months, and the print yesterday was good, but not blowout spectacular. And I think probably expectations got a little ahead of themselves. And it's a shame because it overlooks the fact that AMD is continuing to execute fairly well.
Well, let's talk about that execution for a second, and maybe we can look at it through the lens of NVIDIA versus AMD. How do these two companies stack up, in your opinion?
So I think in terms of the companies, NVIDIA is the clear leader in the market. And up until very recently, AMD could have been overlooked. And NVIDIA has just been dominating so much. But AMD has been steadily building up their AI GPU accelerator portfolio. They have a really good roadmap now, and I think they're starting to get real traction. So NVIDIA is still the leader, but AMD is starting to look ever more like a very credible second source competitor here.
And actually, just for some context, because I think for those who are really into the movements of these stocks, what was it that was keeping investors away from AMD before they really decided to come back to the stock over the last couple of months?
I think, like I said, up until fairly recently, people could have overlooked AMD's efforts in GPUs in AI landscape. They had a product, but didn't seem to really be attracting customer interest. And I think that's started to shift. I think we've started to see real customers sign up. Hyperscalers are there. All the sort of usual names are starting to kick the tires and take a look at what AMD has to offer. And that's given credibility to their story that they have a viable product here. And
their leader, Lisa Su, who took a company that was in very arguably rough shape. I'm editorializing a little bit, but obviously has put it in the conversation of top chip players around the world. How does her leadership factor into your assessment of the company and its ability to deliver?
So I think she's one of the best CEOs in the industry, and it gets overlooked because AMD has come from such humble beginnings, as you were alluding to. But she is very focused and very diligent and very hardworking. Everyone I know there works incredible hours. She's very demanding and is very deep into the weeds and understands the complexities of the product. But at the same time, she's shown a very high degree of flexibility and able to change course and adapt to situations. So I think her track record has largely been built on just the company's ability to execute. Right, I've been around semis a long time, and it used to be AMD was a watchword for missed deadlines, and that hasn't happened in the years that she's running. They're the ones who have sort of taken leadership in this corner of the industry now.
Okay, Jay, this is the point in our coverage where we can get more detailed on what are potential drivers for a stock, because we talk to a lot of broad money managers who are trying to answer the question whether the boom in tech or AI plays is getting frothy. AMD is a stock that give or take 5 years ago was trading around $50. Now we're north of 150. I looked at your target price. You would not be surprised to see these shares higher in a year's time than where they are now. So what are the considerations that go into assessing the value of a stock like AMD?
So I think it's really three things here. One is their core CPU product. They're continuing to gain share at Intel's expense. Intel has its own big set of troubles that they're going through. And AMD's been able to pick up a lot of share in the data center most recently and slowly chipping away at the PC. So that's number one, driving the fundamentals. Number two is the AI story, right? They have this instinct line of GPUs or accelerators that are looking pretty good. And I think the street is, at one point, there are people who were hoping that they would overtake NVIDIA. They're not an NVIDIA killer, but I do think that they're a viable second source here. And I think the story for the next 12 months will be tracking their progress at some of the hyperscalers, companies like Amazon and Facebook and OpenAI. There's a lot of spend out there for AI right now, and how much of that will AMD be able to peel away?
Okay.
And then the third part is sort of underlying execution.
The execution and the ability to get back into China. You feel pretty good about that?
Yeah, they've said they're going to get a waiver for their part. They had been both NVIDIA and AMD had been restricted about a month ago. The U.S. government had cut it off. Both companies have said they've gotten waivers for their products. We just don't know exactly when they'll be able to start shipping again.